Welcome to Packets and Bolts podcast about technology, life, philosophy, and everything in between. It is Friday, April 5th, 2024. This is your host, Muskrat, along with the co-host, Mongoose and Dubstench.
We're here. Yep.
Tonight we will discuss the upcoming solar eclipse, superstitions, bizarre events, and other obscure phenomena that surround the eclipse. Email the show, packetsandbolts@gmail.com, packetsandbolts@gmail.com, and join us on Discord, follow us on Mastodon.
Yeah, I think, practically speaking, the mission of this episode is to give you a list of things that you need to do if you're going down into the, what do they call it? The path of the
path of totality.
Path of totality.
All right. We will look at some headlines. We'll have a drink or two. Beer for me tonight. Not a mixed drink.
Just two.
Maybe. All right. This might be the last episode before the end of the world. So for those listening, enjoy it while it lasts. Is that like the final boss?
Evil left. But, you know, the totality thing sounds like something in Mortal Kombat. Finish him. Totality.
All right. Well, you know, it's been like a month or two.
Yeah, that's how these things go.
That is. I know. We should be moving to an every other month schedule.
But hey, solar eclipses, that's fun, right? What do you guys think is going to happen?
Well, Jesus is coming back, I thought, right?
I think the moon is going to get in front of the sun.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll probably be stuck in my office with all the blinds shut, and I won't even know this is happening.
It's supposed to be cloudy out around here.
I don't know. We'll see about that. There's also the fact that Mercury is in retrograde, just so you know. So
what's that mean?
All the bad stuff that's been happening is because Mercury's in retrograde.
You said the other day, don't make any rash decisions at this time.
They tell you not to do that during retrograde.
Why is that? Why we're a planet is...
What they say is, I'm not an astrologer expert, by the way, but what they say is you should be prudent and thought out, nothing rash, don't make quick decisions. But Mercury's in retrograde until like the 24th or 25th. So just saying.
That long?
Yeah.
So don't get me started on astronomy.
And it's falling in line with the eclipse and something else. And there's a comet. I'm telling you guys.
Yeah, there's a comet, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because we were talking about Edgar Cayce earlier, and we're not going to obviously go into a deep dive. We should do that in an episode. But even Edgar Cayce believed there was some significance to astrological alignments and a bearing on our behaviors.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't the end all, though. It was just a facet of it, right? He was also a religious man.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't believe in organized religion because it was, I think he thought it was corrupt, right? But he was, I think, a Christian or something. I believe.
I believe so, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that in the second half. Let's get into some headlines here. There's a million of them, but we're gonna try to blow through a few.
Are they old? Are they new?
Well, there's some old, there's some new, but let's give a quick montage of all the Microsoft gaffes. So Microsoft's been hacked like more times than you can shake a stick at. And they
got a big target on their back.
Yeah, whatever. Don't defend them. There's other big companies that don't get hacked like this. Amazon hasn't gotten this kind of hack. So Microsoft's been having some problems with some test accounts that had admin privileges and, you know, a whole test environment that somehow led people to production. Well, a report came out, and the findings are pretty bad. They say that it's basically a comedy of errors, avoidable mistakes. It sounds like Microsoft just isn't up to the task of providing multi-tenant services in a secure manner. So if anyone thinks that they should put their eggs in the Microsoft basket, just remember, there's other people that got their hands on those eggs. Okay.
You're fired.
That's what I'm talking about.
Do you think Bill Gates knows about how shitty his security is? Or is he just worried about like making people eat bugs?
He wants people to eat bugs and take vaccines. That's all he cares about right now.
And driving around in his diamond encrusted Ferrari.
Yes.
Do you think Bill Gates would ever drive one of those cyber trucks that Elon Musk is putting out? Have you seen those?
Fuck, help me.
All the rich people are buying cyber trucks. Have you seen those monstrosities? I mean, it's cool because they can float on water.
No, they cannot.
Yeah.
Show me that. Show me that happening.
Well, they have videos. They can take, you can float them in the water.
I want to see that.
So there was a news story. I don't know if that's one of our news stories, but they're marketing like a tent that attaches to the Cybertruck.
I saw that. It looks pretty shitty.
And it retails at about $3,000.
It looks pretty shitty.
But it's shitty. Yeah, people are pissed.
The original concept drawing looked a lot cooler, but of course it's Musk. Cybertruck floating. Let's see here. You sure about this?
They also make attachments. You can get treads on the Cybertruck, so you can like make it like a tank.
I'm into this.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe this.
I'll
Does
take
this
two.
actually work? There's no way this works. Where does it float?
I'm telling you.
Is it like it actually floats, or it can go in like shallow waters and swamp areas?
No, like you can drive it in the water and like make it a boat.
Like you can just like cruise across the lake, no problem.
Yeah.
Who says this? Okay, that's gonna have to.
And I'm betting in the future they're gonna create a submarine version, and you can go down and see the Titanic.
So if you got one of those, you got a leg up on the cops if you want to get into like some high speed chase action.
Okay, Tesla still claims the Cybertruck will float, although it lags the Rivian R1T when fording, as in fording a river. So Tesla hasn't. This is on Auto Revolution. This is from December of last year. So if you can find a more updated thing, let me know. Tesla hasn't given up on making the Cybertruck amphibious, as revealed by the company's VP Lars Morave or whatever in a Jay Leno's Garage segment. Of course, Elon Musk added that Tesla will provide a mod package that will enable the Cybertruck to traverse at least 100 meters of water as a boat. However, when judged by its fording capabilities, the Cybertruck significantly lags behind the Rivian. Now, if you're talking about an attachment that goes on this thing, maybe. But just the Cybertruck as is not going to go float down the river.
So you can't be like on the street and just not break pace at all and just cruise to the river. You have to like get out and like make some adjustments.
Yeah, but this is obviously an article slanted against Tesla because they're talking explicitly about fording.
Well, it's a little.
If it can't ford, it can't float.
No, fording is crossing a torrential river, right? Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be. You find a low point, but if you're just sailing nice and easy down the river. You're not fording. You're just sailing. I bet you that thing could sail for miles.
What it needs to do is you can just be cruising on the pavement and not even break pace.
So apparently,
right across the lake.
This guy he wants to sell a package to make it floatable. So I don't think anyone should be taking their Tesla truck into any water without this package that probably doesn't exist.
Wait till you get the SpaceX package that allows you to fly.
When you get Musk's package, you can go and try to.
Yeah, taking an electric vehicle on the water sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, considering that Teslas blow up and explode and catch fire and all that stuff.
Take it in the ocean, the salt water.
At any rate, Microsoft's been having a bad time. They can go fuck themselves. And in terms of other hacks, Volt Shemmer attacks use wireless chargers to inject voice commands and fry phones. I think Mongoose sent this one. So you can like fry a phone that's charging on one of those wireless pad things. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the wireless pads.
There's been a multitude of outages from February. Mass conspiracy theories run wild amid U.S. cell outages. That's AT&T, Cricket Wireless, T-Mobile, Verizon. There was also a 911 outage.
Electrical outages.
Major power outages.
Yeah.
And that was even before Mercury retrograde. So I don't know. What's
Well, I
happening.
mean, we got some pretty nasty storms rolling through.
That's true. It's true.
And this, the last couple of days, Maine has been just down, man.
It's down. Is Maine
Yeah,
down?
like
Maine
everything
is
south
closed.
and west of Portland has been down for like multiple days. And I know here in the deserts of northern Wisconsin, we got a lot of municipalities that are still down up north.
Oh, yeah. Other montage news, FTC accuses Microsoft of misrepresenting its Activision Blizzard plans after layoffs. Ooh, who saw that coming? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, weren't they... Did they fire a bunch of people over at Blizzard?
After they said they weren't going to?
Yeah, something like that.
And everyone knows about this story, so we're not going to go too far into it. But the video of the Florida deputy that repeatedly shoots at a man in his car after an acorn fell, making him think that there was gunfire. Classic, well-trained officer there.
Yeah, a little trigger happy there, buddy.
I saw a video the other day of a girl who was in a hostage situation, and she was a young, maybe 10, 12, 14 years old. and she got away from her abductor, and she ran toward the cop, and the cops shot her because they told her to get down, and she didn't listen.
Did she live?
I think so. I'm not
safer with
sure.
her captor.
But the point is,
Did the cops see her escape the guy?
I don't know if they viewed her as a threat, obviously.
They view everyone as a threat.
And they're like, get on. Well, this girl's traumatized because she was abducted. She gets away and she bolts for the people that are supposed to keep her safe. And they shot her.
This is like getting out of control. Like, how do you shoot a girl running towards you? Oh my gosh, shoot her. I don't get it.
I mean, what's the solution?
Hire cops that aren't morons?
No, I mean, we're defunding the cops. That's
And
causing
we're not
problems
defunding
too.
them. We're not. That's a myth. What we're doing is hiring morons. You know, there was a guy that actually sued the cops because they said that they discriminated against his having too high of an IQ, and the courts found in the police department's favor that they're allowed to not hire smart people. They actually have a court ruling that said the police station or county or city is allowed to only want to hire morons. That is what they.
Well, now hold
ruled.
on. Like, they say like there's like an IQ number that
he was too high.
So like he would be disqualified from having that position because of that.
Yeah, he's too smart to be a cop.
He wasn't diverse enough, probably.
Or did he not have other like skills?
They specifically said that they are allowed to not hire someone that's too smart. So he sued specifically because he said, "Why you can't not hire me because I'm smart?" And they said, "Yes, apparently we can."
So he could meet or exceed all the other requirements, but
I don't know, man. When I was a kid, I went to the grocery store and I applied to work in the dairy department, and they said I was overqualified and they didn't hire me.
well, I have heard there's
dairy.
I have heard there's at a local grocery store on their job applications. One of the questions was like, well, they ask questions like, well, if you caught your friend shoplifting, what would you turn him in? But then another question
Should
was,
say depends.
do you live on planet Earth?
That's an open-ended question.
You should have said C question above.
Would you turn your friend in? Well, it depends really what planet I'm on if I catch him shoplifting. If it's Mars, that's fine. Earth, maybe I'd roll on him.
Maybe I roll on. All right. AT&T acknowledges data leak that hits 73 million current and former users. Find out if you're on the list. The dark web has released it all. It was for sale, but now someone released it publicly for free. So go look your name up, see if it's on there. And it was a very weakly encrypted thing as well. So
what caused the outage? AT&T shut themselves down to cut off the...
This one's from April 1st. Ooh, Fool's Day. Oh, all right.
Yeah, skip that one. It's bullshit.
Fools.
Yeah. Continued drama on the from Ars Technica. Broadcom exec says VMware price subscription complaints are unwarranted. Come on, guys. We don't need any government intervention. Not that they'll intervene, but as you know, they're ending the perpetual licenses. They're forcing subscription, and I think saw like a 600% increase in some of these prices. I mean, get out while you can, man. Go to Nutanix or there's free and open source VM competitors. Broadcom doesn't know what they're doing, and it looks like VMware might be dying soon. So.
Or come up with your own virtualization solution and licensing model, and you're printing your own money.
That's right. Well, a lot of people are moving containers too, so you could do that. All right. Delta passenger is calling on the airline to change its policies after she says she was escorted off a flight for not wearing a bra. This is Business Insider. Now, we got into a lot of trouble when one of our early episodes talked about how bras... I mean, we were just citing... published study from, I believe, Harvard.
The backlash of controversy
People
that
were
fell
like,
upon Packets and
bras
Bullets at that
do
time.
not cause breast cancer. And all we're saying is look at the study. That's all we're saying. And we're also saying let the boobs live. Let them be free like they're supposed to in the wild. Well, apparently they barred her because her nipples or something were showing in through her shirt. And she had to go and put another shirt on and then get boarded after that.
What about pasties?
This should be... That's what we brought up in the show. If you're worried about nips, go get some pasties. But the thing is first of all, I don't think this could be legal. If you have a shirt on, and someone made a comment about guys, if a guy's got big chest that's showing nips, like... this should not be allowed to kick a woman off. If she's got the titties and at half or full mast, it's just going to have to let them stand at attention.
I don't know. I like that trend.
Yeah, braless.
Yeah, with the
with the breasts just hanging out. That's what it's supposed to be.
I mean, that's fine. I'm talking about
What is that?
the nipples.
Well, that's part of the breasts. Yeah.
Now I sound like a creep.
Well, it's fine. That's nature. We just need nature to do its thing. Why are we always fighting nature?
That's a good point.
Don't panic. It's organic.
All right.
So I actually got in a little bit of trouble in high school. I had a Smashing Pumpkins T-shirt where there is I'm trying to find the picture.
What, some breast
There's
of a woman?
There's some nipples showing, and it was the art teacher who had a problem with it.
Oh my God.
He's like, that's inappropriate. He's like, you gotta, turn it inside out. I'm like, what? Why? Like, you're the art teacher.
Yeah,
like,
you
I would
should
think you'd be the most cool
for
with this.
art.
And I've been wearing this to school. Like, this isn't the first time. It's been months.
Yeah, don't art teachers have to like draw naked people all the time? Like
I think he was. Oh yeah, okay. This was what was in the back. So there was.
Yeah. There's some titties, like obscure, like.
Oh my God, that's offensive.
He said, he's like, well, if you have a
Abstract.
problem with it, you can go to the office. I'm like, I do kind of have a problem with this, so I'm going to go out in the office.
Abstract titties.
Yeah, but yeah, and I had turned the shirt inside out. But
Oh.
the art teacher would be the last one. But I think he was in a cult. He was heavy into Amway.
Amway, yeah, that'll do it.
He would make us listen to Amway music sometimes.
That'll do it. All right. And more weird ass shit. I'm surprised Musk isn't involved in this. Neoscope. Scientists splice material from creature that can survive outer space into human cells. So I think it's a water bear. They're just adding shit and it's making like gooey proteins in like a human cell.
So it's just a human cells. It's not like
Well, I don't think they're ready to do the human injections yet. But don't worry, it'll
they're
come.
using like extremophobes is what they call them.
Extremophiles or
It's
something.
coming out in the next mRNA vaccine.
That's,
The
if
next
you get your
COVID-
booster, you'll
The next
have
COVID booster
water
is
bear
going
in
to
it.
make you space resilient.
Well, they might as well start adding some cool features.
All right. All right. So here's some Wisconsin news. Fox 11, former Outagamie County HR director recorded child pornography at hotel, prosecutors say. So this guy,
Busted.
federal prosecutors have taken over the case against former Outagamie County Human Resources Director accused of sharing sexually explicit videos of a child with another man. Now,
So who's this kid? Like, did they invite the kid to the hotel, obviously, because he was shooting the videos at the hotel?
oh, wait, what? He was making that's even worse.
I don't know how anybody
he
thinks they
was-
can like get away with this these days.
I thought he was. Yeah, well, this is why you never trust HR. There's something about having a title, human resources.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It's just corporate code for sex trafficking with minors.
Hypocrisy at its finest.
Yeah, this is weird. So I don't know how this happened, but I guess he used Snapchat to send two video. What is wrong with these people? Oh my gosh, these people are dumb. Everyone's dumb. All right. Well, there's some more
Snapchat.
perverts.
I'll never get caught. Genius.
Speaking of perverts, what about the local man in Green Bay that was charged with battery?
Which one? Bring that up.
This is your story from March 8th.
So many.
Yeah,
Is it D's nuts?
Yeah. WFRV in Wisconsin. A man in Green Bay with a one-of-a-kind first name was taken into custody after an alleged disturbance on the city's east side. His name is D's Nuts Kroll.
Awesome.
So when I first thought of this, I thought Kroll, D's Nuts was his first and last name. But
D's
no.
nuts.
I don't know if that's his first and middle name, but it's hyphenated, so it must be his first name. D's Nuts Kroll.
Definitely a pillar of the community.
Incident involving a gun.
Wow.
Sweet.
Damn.
And D's Nuts, when the officers got to the scene, he was reportedly standing outside with no shirt on, which I would expect from a man named D's Nuts.
Yeah, I would expect either like a sleeveless T-shirt or no shirt.
Moreover, he was highly intoxicated.
No way.
I would also expect this from a man named
D's nuts.
Oh, his middle name's Lee, so I'm sorry. It's D's Nuts Lee Kroll.
These nuts Lee Kroll. probably like a weird demonic chant.
Deasley nuts would be better, but
And that guy's parents hated him.
there's no way it's he changed his name.
Oh,
There's
he
no
probably
way
definitely did himself, but
that'd be awesome if he was born D's nuts.
or maybe he had some awful parent-given name that.
He looks like Aaron Rodgers. It's probably his alias.
Okay, well, if anyone wants a goat, Italian island overrun by goats is offering them free to anyone who can catch them. This is CNN.com from April 4th. It doesn't matter if you know how to take care of goats or anything. As long as you can get them on the boat and get them off the island, they're letting you do it.
Oh my God, I have some ideas here for videos of trying to just tackle goats.
All right.
Are they fainting goats?
It's the island. I think you have to stare at them long enough. It's the island of Alacuti. I don't know, whatever.
Are they like adult goats? Like the child or adolescent goats are.
It's got about 100 residents and ideally about 100 wild goats. However, this year the human to animals ratio has become wildly unbalanced. Now, do you think they want them to be balanced because they do bad things with these goats that you don't want to imagine?
I don't know. It's not like
Yeah, the goat to male pervert ratio. Well, it doesn't have to be males. I assume the females can also get it on with goats, but they have sex toys for that nowadays. Not marketed toward goats.
Well, maybe this has been like an ongoing thing for
goats,
years, like the Hatfield and McCoys type of thing.
Goats are known to eat many things. At any rate, I don't know.
So they're running out of grass for the goats to eat. So, like, do you need to provide your own boat to take them away?
Yeah, what's
You
the
just have to
logistics
get
of shipping?
the goats on a boat. I don't know, man. Is it your boat or their boat? I don't know.
Well, I mean, this sounds like a great
Why don't they eat something?
charity operation.
What
You
this
can
sounds
go-
like is a perfect use case for those Tesla trucks that can go on the water. Just throw it in your truck and
Yeah, the Cybertruck,
Yeah,
float them over there, load them up with goats.
Anyone interested in taking up to 50 goats can make an official request with the community by April 10th. So I don't know how many they're estimating are there. So I don't see that.
Are there
So
conditions where you could get denied your request for 50 goats?
I don't know. I guess it depends what you look like.
I kind of want to.
So we could ferry these goats away on boats, goats on boats,
Goats
Oh
and
my
boats.
God!
and we could help these islanders, and then we could charity deliver the goats to third world countries where they love.
You
goats.
could take them to Gaza and get blown up. Just make sure they don't know you're delivering food.
Or in a prank scenario, just send a goat to your friend. It'd be hilarious. Do it anonymously.
Maybe if we bring enough goats, we can solve the Gaza crisis. We can just bring harmony to the region.
Yeah,
Maybe
sure.
everybody
Like
just
a
wants
shepherd.
a goat.
You'll have a shepherd. What is it? A crook or something? And you'll just walk up there. My goats go.
We should train them and weaponize them. Let them take up arms. See what happens.
Goat is the most eaten meat worldwide. Just so you know.
Can't say I've ever had it or seen a place where
Goat
it was
meat's
offered to be
good
served.
stuff. Indian restaurants usually have goat. Good
Huh.
stuff. Very good. Goat milk is good too. Better for you than cow milk, but not as good as human breast milk. It's a little tidbit. All right. MSN.com study finds chloromequat in Cheerios and Quaker products. It's some sort of pesticide, and it's pretty bad. It's yet another contamination that we're getting. So just stop eating cereal, guys. It's just out of control.
As long as they leave alone the Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I'm sure it's all in there too. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Microsoft Azure hit with the largest data breach in its history. Hundreds of executive accounts compromised. They just can't catch a break. They just can't.
Sorry, I just want to go back and a little side note about goats.
Yeah.
So I was curious as to whether goats have actually ever been employed in interesting ways in wartime.
They probably have.
Because, I've known that there have been armies that have put lances on dogs or, like, lit pigs on fire and sent them, like, raging into enemy lines. No.
Goats have
No,
not.
they would just launch dead goats over city walls during siege time, along with cows and things.
Like diseased goats.
Yeah, disease, yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
So there you go.
All right. Roku data breach, what you need to know if you have an account. Keep track of that. I'm not going to go into it. Fidelity data breach affects 28,000 plus customers. Look into that. It's a never-ending list.
We should just start every
infected-
episode out and just say that there have been 1,000 data breaches since our
Yes,
last episode.
That's probably true. And here's one for the Chick-fil-A fans. New York Post, Chick-fil-A announces it will no longer serve antibiotic-free chicken.
Was that an option on the menu? I don't remember.
They only serve that, supposedly. I don't know if I believe it. But
so why are they taking it off?
money. They just want to get cheaper shit.
Well, at least they're honest and upfront about it.
Yeah, I guess. To maintain supply of the high-quality chicken you expect from us, Chick-fil-A will shift from no antibiotics ever to no antibiotics important to human medicine starting in the spring of 2024.
Sounds like some pretty loose language there.
We shouldn't even be allowing the amount of. If you see how these chickens are raised, it's not.
Well, that's the
pleasant.
thing. Yeah,
It's
I mean,
disgusting.
if it's free range chickens, you probably don't need antibiotics.
Yeah.
Everything's just cool. But
Yeah. These things are tortured. It's horrible.
so, in other words, Chick-fil-A is now PETA.
It's going to turn into McDonald's chicken, the McChicken.
The pink ooze that they.
Yeah, yeah. They're
Have you
going to
ever,
press the
did you
chicken
ever see
shape.
a video about when they took McDonald's chicken nuggets and they put them under microscopes?
No,
like
that's
what was in the
disgusting.
chicken meat? There were like little hairs and like organisms and shit in it.
Yeah, dude, because it's a soup of like nasty stuff they press into shapes.
Yeah.
Of,
They scrape off
Yeah,
the
and there's
floor.
all sorts of foreign material. Like they just like they take a
I used to eat those
bulldozer.
things so much.
They take a bulldozer across like some like rotten fucking pavement, and they like gather up all the chicken scraps.
The killing floor.
Then they,
It's
yeah,
full of pubes and fingernails and
Who knows what the workers are doing there?
they press it together,
Dirty
and
needles.
Ronald McDonald beats off on it for that magical flavor. And then,
The crust.
no, that's not true. It's Grimace.
burgers.
Maybe the Hamburglar.
Yeah, the burglar. Yeah, he's got something going on there. So, yeah. So here's a criminal story that I don't think is going to get prosecuted. TechCrunch.com. Facebook snooped on users' Snapchat traffic in secret project documents reveal, and the project was called Ghostbusters. And they basically did a man-in-the-middle attack of SSL traffic, and they should be going to jail. I mean, this is like insane, but I doubt there'll be a criminal trial.
Why aren't they?
This is like anti, all of the laws that like Kevin Mitnick went to fucking shit for, and Snapchat's just doing it blazingly, or Facebook's doing it blazingly, and yeah, nothing's probably gonna happen. We'll see you. This was on March 26th that came out.
you mean brazenly?
Brazenly, what I say?
Brazenly.
Oh, brazenly. All
No,
right.
you said blazingly. That's
Did
good.
I? Well, blazingly, that works.
Yeah.
All right.
Whatever.
BBC.com. Here's a fun project. Mongoose was talking about the Maine getting hit. So U.S. towns $565,000 sand dune project washed away in days. This is from March 14th. They built a big sand dune to prevent their coast from being hit by this thing, and it got washed away in like a big storm, and it's probably now getting hit even more. So their houses are almost falling into the ocean, and now they're asking the state government, of course, to create like, I don't know, what do they want to do, like a dike or something? I don't know. But yeah, so they're asking for bailouts.
So, what were they thinking when they decided they're just going to heap up a bunch of sand?
Yeah, water, waves of water will like eventually
Yeah.
take that out.
We have a solid hill.
Like, you could also maybe try this harder thing called rocks. Like they make that last a little bit longer.
The ocean is how much bigger than that thing?
They must have thought like, oh, if it works in sandbags, we can just pour a bunch of sand out.
To
make a
stop
big
the
hill.
ocean. To stop the ocean.
Use
yeah.
sandbags would have been better. Yeah.
All right. WSAW.com. This is another miscarriage of justice. Woman arrested after allegedly doing naked jumping jacks in her front yard. Now, why in America can you not do naked jumping jacks in your
Well,
front
now
yard?
hold on. Have you seen like footage of this? This may be justified.
I don't know. I have not, but they called the cops on him, and I don't know what the outcome will be. But this sounds like a First Amendment issue. You're allowed to be naked on your property. If someone doesn't want to look, they don't have to look. That's my opinion.
Is that a First Amendment thing? I don't.
Listen, man, it's a naked person.
I can think of a lot of people I wouldn't want to see doing naked.
I get that, but don't look.
Well, I'd have to see the footage to really make a call here.
All right. Well, one of the biggest hacks that almost happened Ars Technica again. Backdoor found in widely used Linux utility. It targets encrypted SSH connection. If this would have made it through the main line of the Linux distros, this would have been the biggest hack. Every SSH connection compromised, potentially every Linux system running this would have been compromised. And it was caught by a random Microsoft developer who was doing testing, and the SSH connections were taking 500 milliseconds longer. This is a multi-year project, probably a state actor, thwarted by a random Microsoft developer that found some discrepancies in the testing. So I say it's a win for open source, but very, very close. And hopefully people will take the supply chain of software more strict coming up. All right.
Yeah, right. It's free for all.
All right. What else we got? Well, we all know about the guy that set himself on fire protesting the Israeli genocide.
He was a soldier too, or
Yeah,
military.
he was an
wasn't he?
active Air Force, I think.
Every time we do a podcast, we get done, and then like an hour later, we're like, "Why the
I
fuck didn't we talk about that?"
That's your job to look at the current news articles. All right. Well, Apple's got the quantum, the encryption problem with its
What about the
Apple Silicon.
smiley face killer?
Yes. So, well, we don't know if it's related to that, but
It's
there's
a
someone
theory
in
that we'll have to
Nashville.
explore in the future.
The kid in Nashville has been found, I think his pants were off, missing wallet, etc. No water found in lungs. And they still are trying to claim that he just fell into the river while he was drunk. It's looking more and more like the smiley face killers. It might be a syndicate across the United States.
Or a frat hazing gone wrong.
He was with frat people. He got kicked out of a bar and they got separated. That's the problem. His buddies got separated from him.
But how many? So I don't know if they ever put together a map of the whole smiley face thing. But a lot of those, deaths were in like New York and Wisconsin.
Yeah, there was a lot of Midwest.
Yeah.
I think they outnumber.
But like I think La Crosse was a college town in Wisconsin that
A
had,
lot of them. Yeah, there's a lot of weird happenings.
and then they had some probably in Minnesota and like you said, the region. But
Yeah.
did they ever make it that far down in the Nashville area?
Well, it depends if you believe what theories. Anyone can join the syndicate if you listen to the detectives. He thinks he was getting close. They found a site on the dark web, and they wanted to have a camera meeting with them because they were getting initiated into this thing, but they didn't do it because they didn't want their image shown at the time. They also need a password, which I think they might have gotten through the password. But anyways, yeah, it's I definitely think there's something going on here.
And there was a year or two ago, there was in Chicago, there was the reports of a potential serial killer that they were loose linking to that. And I know there was at least one guy that said that he got picked up or almost took an Uber, and he got they said that might have been the killer or whatever. But
Seems like a pretty big geographic area for one.
It's a syndicate.
if it's a syndicate, that's why it's so hard to.
They operate in cells, they think.
So it's like
No one knows who's
Dexter
all
fan
involved.
clubs.
It's pretty messed up. I don't know, man.
The point is that if you're gonna get drunk on an island in the town, you should have the buddy system.
Yes.
Or gun.
Yeah. Well, when you're roofied, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's what they think. We'll try to find a guy that's an expert on this and try to get something going on with that.
I mean, I got roofied at a bar. In
and
my
he was
20s,
probably
and-
an attempted victim.
Yeah, the smiley face killer tried to get me, but I just went home.
I just went home.
We had a ride. That's the thing. Yeah. They think that they target men because like women wouldn't usually get inside of a van, but men might be like, sure, I'll take a ride. Stuff like that.
Who wouldn't just get into a van?
I mean, I probably wouldn't, but when you're roofied, that's another problem if you can't think straight.
Anybody got a van I can hop into here? Like, come on.
Well, and some of that shit can just like completely, I know there was an IT professional who was down in Vegas, and he was a pretty well-known like cybersecurity guy in the community, and I used to follow some of his stuff on Twitter, X now. But anyway, he was saying that he got to talking with some like prostitutes or some escorts in a big casino, and there were two of them. He got distracted by one. The other one dosed him.
Oh.
And he ended up taking them back to his hotel room, and they talked him into opening up his safe, and they took his iPad, his work computer, his phone, and a bunch of stuff, and he was fine with it. And they had video in the hotels of him being led around by these women. And he remembers doing it, but he doesn't remember why he just let them have all this stuff. Like he blacked out at points.
Yeah.
And he was like, I never would have done this, and like I was out of my mind.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
they dosed me, and I was just their slave. You know, it's fucking
Nice.
weird.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't think you get any.
Yeah, I know that's the bad part. All right. Well, man sues hotel WSAW again, claiming scorpion in his room stung his testicles. Testicles. Yes. Southern California
So
man.
is that a thing to like get bigger? Like people like.
I don't know, but a Southern California man is suing a luxury resort and hotel in Las Vegas after he says he was stung by a scorpion on his testicles while in bed.
Oh, so this wasn't on purpose.
I mean, not according to him.
But then afterward, he's like, I had the biggest fucking erection.
Yeah, what is that poison that? It's a spider, I think. There's this type of spider that does that.
Like a tarantula.
So I don't remember. Yeah, we did a story on it. I can't remember now.
I do recall we
Yeah.
talked about this on the podcast.
Yeah, they can
a
be
couple years
used for ED medication. They're studying it. All right. In other news that's not probably news, probably most people can guess this. Kourtney Kardashian shares an article about being autosexual.
Is that where you
She
have
likes
sex
herself.
with cars?
She likes herself.
She has a Cybertruck.
there's
She's
any-
probably banging the Cybertruck.
And there is a thing where people are sexually attracted to automobiles.
That
is
is
a
true
thing.
too. So if anyone needed more evidence that she's a narcissist, there you go. I also just learned that Brazilian butt lifts supposedly smell because people can't wash their ass, and I'm thinking that most of the Kardashians probably have Brazilian butt lifts. So all I can think of now when I see massive asses like that is how much they probably rot. It's disgusting. All right.
I saw a pickup basketball game for charity where it was all played by women with like the most gigantic asses, like with like butt lifts. And one of them fell down and had a severe injury to her leg because like her butt was so big, it like crushed her when she fell. She was like crushed under the weight of the ass.
Crazy!
That is still crazy. And
It's all for charity though.
If anyone thought that
it's for a good cause.
the microplastics weren't a problem, ScienceAlert.com, plastic found inside more than 50% of plaques from clogged arteries. So there you go, people. There you go. Good news for credit card fee people. The new Credit Financial Protection Bureau has put out a rule to cap late fees at $8 instead of the insane amounts they were climbing to. So hopefully that'll help. Of course, the credit card companies are going to whine. We can't make any money off all the late fees we want to charge people. All right. The rest I got is really just NGNX core developer is quitting and starting free NGNX because he thinks that I think F5 bought NGNX and
Nginx, yeah.
Nginx, and he thinks they're taking it in the wrong direction. So they're starting a free version.
F5 standing by.
I sat in we had F5 in at a company. I think Dubs thinks you might have been in that meeting too, maybe. But F5 came in and they tried to sell us Nginx, and it's like, how does this even remotely fit in what we're trying to do?
Well, a lot of app guys do it, but all right. Last story that I have, unless you guys have others. MSN.com. NFL under fire over edited Alicia Keys video from Super Bowl halftime performance. Yes, they hid her mistake and covered it up and made it look like it never happened. We're living in the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect. They're just changing reality in front of us, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, I heard so I was hearing a bunch of new Mandela effect ones. The one that sticks out in my head is do you remember Fruit of the Loom underwear? Maybe you still wear it.
Yeah.
Was there a cornucopia?
Maybe.
I can picture one there.
Yeah, no, there wasn't.
Maybe.
There wasn't. But I always assumed there was. I remember as a kid with the tag on my Fruit of the Loom underwear, my tidy whities.
Or T-shirts.
Yep. T-shirts, yep.
Yeah, there was a cornucopia there, and apparently it never existed.
Yeah, well, it's just like...
Dun, 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 right here. There's cornucopia.
Is there?
I'm just looking at some random pictures. I don't know, man.
Well, all that weird stuff, like Snow White.
What about her?
Well, when she addresses the magic mirror.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Oh.
Who's the fairest of
See,
them?
that's what I remember too, but it's magic mirror on the wall,
Yeah,
which
I
I
don't
don't
I don't know.
recall that.
Horse shit.
I'm gonna have to watch it again, I guess.
Bernstein Beers and the monocle and the Monopoly guy.
The Monopoly guy didn't have a monocle.
They say
apparently
no. They
not.
say no.
Now, apparently there's a weird version of Monopoly, like a very specific version, like Monopoly Junior from a certain year, that there's a $2 bill or something that does it's on there. He's got the monocle. Tell you, man, it's the government playing
But
around.
Mr. Peanut had a monocle. That's for sure.
Yeah, better check that. So this MSN is saying, fast fact, these pics do not prove that Fruit of the Loom logo once had a cornucopia, and they're showing old pictures with a cornucopia. How don't they prove it? Unless they think they were faked. I have to read it. I don't care. Anyways.
I mean, has anybody interviewed Fruit of the Loom? Did they remove it because somebody found it offensive? Like,
I don't know. My life changed one day when I was younger, and I discovered the cornucopia, and it was all thanks to Fruit of the Loom. I didn't even know what a cornucopia was.
Really?
Like, they would talk about it at Thanksgiving. I'd be like just oblivious, like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then one day, I looked at my underwear.
Unlimited food.
I looked at my underwear, and there it was.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's Friday, April 5th, 2024, a few days before the end of the world. We're going to take a short break.
Or the next jump in consciousness where a much more Mandela effect should happen.
oh yeah, we're gonna shift dimensions.
Right. Well, we're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll have some emails. We'll have some drinks, and then we'll talk
breakdancing.
about the superstitions and other bizarre events that follow the eclipse.
Ooh.
Be right back.
Hank Carlson here, proprietor of Baked Beans and Books and Furries Wear Boots. Did you ever wonder how many bites it would take to get to the bottom of a giant vat of baked beans? Well, I tried it once, but all the beans kept collapsing in on the hole I was making. I ate the whole vat. Stop on down to Baked Beans and Books to get yourself a heaping handful of baked beans and peruse the selection of books. While you're at it, stop at Furries Wear Boots. 11111 State Street, Madison, Wisconsin. Baked Beans and Books. When books just aren't enough.
All right, we're back. Friday, April 5th, 2024.
3 days till doomsday.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait.
Email the show, packetsandbolts@gmail.com, packetsandbolts@gmail.com. All right. So, let's see. What is our drinking song today? Let's see if we get the jazzy. All right. I'm
That was gonna be Dishwalla.
just gonna have a beer here. I am looking at what is this? Paczki by Hinterland.
Is that like Polish?
Maybe.
Are you allowed to drink something you can't
Paczki?
pronounce?
Paczki.
What was it again?
I don't know. Whatever.
Pekziki.
Maybe.
Is that from the Hinterland Brewery?
Yes,
Oh.
it's Imperial Stout, and it is, I think, a special 25th anniversary limited release. Now, I like Imperial Stouts as long as they're not like aged in barrels for 100 years, and
Yes.
it makes it taste like the barrel. That's all you can taste. So let's see how this is.
I had a stout.
Oh no, I'm leaking.
Not last Thursday. The Thursday before, I was out for watching the first day's worth of NCAA tournament action. I was at a bar and I bought. It was a certain type of stout, but when it came out, they served it in a brandy snifter, and it was the consistency of syrup, and it tasted like licorice. Like it was probably the worst stout I've ever had. But I like stouts generally.
Yeah, syrup is not good. Punchki, it's pronounced. It
Well,
doesn't
no,
look
hold
like-
on. It might be
No, this is
cross-reference this. No.
pretty foamy, as you can see here. That's like That's some foam.
That's some serious froth.
That's some
man.
good head. Now, a lot of people, when you're younger, you're like, oh man, I don't want head that's less beer. But the science behind head on a beer, that's a release of gases. You want that little bit of head because if you don't have that when you pour yourself a beer, you're consuming all those gases. It makes you more bloated. I learned this on Bar Rescue. Yes?
Punch key.
Oh, punch key.
So typically when you pour a beer, right, you want to angle it and you want to pour toward the middle of the glass until it's about halfway and then right it, and then you'll get the perfect head every time.
But that's too much.
This is too foamy.
Well, and that's from like a can or something. But like if your beer is not at the proper optimal temperature, you're going to get more
correct.
more head.
That's going to get your head.
And
Especially if there's a mist.
that's the off gassing.
There's a mismatch of temperatures.
Yes.
If you go from like cold to warm, it'll foam even more. All right. Well, this is good. It's not the best imperial style I've had, but it is good. It's good. It's good. What's everyone else drinking?
Well, I got a Cutwater Tiki Rum Mai Tai, which ain't too bad.
Sounds good. Dub Stench.
And I'm drinking a 7 and 7. I've been watching reruns of The Sopranos, and I noticed that the Mafia likes to drink 7 and 7s. If you're part of the Mafia and you drink 7 and 7s, we want to have you on the show.
No, Christopher, he drinks that, doesn't he?
Oh, Christopher Maltasanti?
Yeah.
Maybe. I didn't take note of who was drinking 7 and 7s, but I've always liked 7 and 7s.
I've just rewatched that series recently too, and then the last episode I remember like how much bullshit that was.
Did you watch the movie?
There's a movie, The Sopranos?
Yeah, so in 2021, I think it was 2021, they came out with The Many Saints of Newark, which you can get on like HBO or HBO Max. It wasn't a highly rated movie, and honestly, it wasn't that great. But if you're into The Sopranos, it was entertaining. And it's about the generation of that family before Tony Soprano. So it was like an origin story. It was a prequel.
Like his dad and...
Yeah, so Johnny Soprano, his dad's there. And then
Soprano?
Junior Soprano, he's like another capo. But then Christopher's dad, Dickie Maltasanti, in the original series, Christopher's always bad-mouthing his dad that he was a drug addict and all this stuff. Well, they talk about that and they show that. And the way that, I don't want to give the movie away, but at the end of the movie, his dad gets assassinated, and he was never a drug addict, but they framed him to look like one, which was very interesting.
And they bought it?
Well, that's where the whole story about him being a drug addict came from. And it's because he had some antidepressant pills in his pocket that he was trying to get for somebody
Oh, interesting.
when he was killed. So,
All right.
Tight.
Well, we got a couple of emails. Oh yeah. All right, we'll switch over to the email music here,
Smooth email music.
and Dibs writes in, "Why are you not covering the smiley face killers theory?" And I was wondering if Mongoose had read the emails before he brought that up.
I don't have access to the email account. You have me banned.
Like you have me banned from certain shared...
Well, it's because that Billy Boy, I started sending some threatening emails because his questions are always so fucking stupid.
We haven't heard from Billy Boy for a while. Was he named Billy Boy? I don't know. So Dibs. So didn't someone else ask us about the smiley face killers like years ago? I don't know. We keep talking about having someone to talk about that on. We'll need to find smiley face killer people to talk to.
We need to get somebody from the police department that was involved in that, or like the FBI or whoever was involved in that.
Well, there's 2 retired detectives, but those are the main people. I don't know. I don't know if we'll be able to reach out to them. I can try, but someone else has to be having this theory. It can't just be those 2, right? I don't know. All right. Well, yeah, we'll look into something. But maybe this thing that happened in Nashville is going to break the case open. We'll see. Sherps writes, now this one's more predictable. The world will end on the eclipse. Cover it now before it's too late.
Well, guess what?
And yes, thanks.
We took your email to heart.
Yes. We live to give.
We had several ideas for the topic tonight, but this one won because Mongoose was all over the subject, searching the arcane, ancient texts of the Mayans.
Many hours over my scrying ball.
Becoming well versed in the subject matter.
I had my best wizard robes on.
You got more than one?
The fine war.
I wore multiple layers. It was cold here in the deserts of Wisconsin, so you got to have layers of wizard robes.
Now, safety tip: when you scry, you have to watch because you never know what's watching back. So prepare yourself when you scry.
Yes, when you gaze into the abyss gazes back at you. Friedrich Nietzsche.
Oh, was it him? Okay, thought that was Crowley.
No, that was "Do what thou wilt" should be the whole.
Well,
of the
yeah,
law.
I know he said that. All right, I thought he was also the abyss guy, but I could be wrong.
We should do an episode on Aleister Crowley. That would be entertaining. Because some of the stories, some of which are completely fabricated, but the myths and the stories about that guy are very entertaining.
Yeah.
Draft a proposal. We'll see what we can do.
There's a lot of memes I've seen recently where they have him talk about butt sex making more powerful magic or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, he frequently employed sex magic. That was very common with him. And, I think the women were into magic too. So, I mean, it wasn't like they were unwilling participants, at least some of the time.
You're not going to get a normal person to, do things where you're doing some weird ass ritual.
But it makes sense, right? I mean, I don't practice the dark arts. I mean, other than playing playing bass.
Other than scrying.
Yeah, and scry. Never mind. I don't even know where I was going with it. Next email.
Those are the only two. Unless you want me to read one of the many spam emails that have been coming.
From do not reply at.
So what about the hundreds of international emails we get that are in different languages? Like, did you feed those into Google Translate yet?
Well, first, no, I don't. First of all, I peruse the list of all of our spam emails and then try to pick out ones that don't look like spam.
Why don't you read one of the spam ones in there?
Well,
take this pill. Your dick will get.
I don't know if I've got any of those. There's all about like advertising and reaching more in your audience with with our product.
It's discount on your Windows from Anderson Windows.
So this is probably a good opportunity to bring this up, but when podcasts mature and they build the following like we've built. A lot of the times the next step is to go on tour and start charging admissions. So, like, are we going to get a tour together? Packets and Bolts tour?
Let's go to Chicago.
Take it on the road.
Let's go to Chicago.
Let's go to Delaware.
What is it, Millennium Park or whatever? We'll be down there at a bench.
Or Wyoming.
By the bean.
Where nobody actually lives.
We'll be by the bean. Last time I was down there, they were like having construction. You couldn't get to the bean. I wonder if that's done or not. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, we'll take this on tour. We'll do shows.
And we probably should switch gears from our OnlyFans account to like a Patreon account.
Yeah. We should start a Patreon.
That's what the pros do.
Didn't we say we were going to start a zine, the Packets and Bolts zine, and distribute it randomly in coffee shops throughout the country? I think we need to do that.
Yeah, personally distribute them in coffee shops.
Well, first we got to get the Patreon so we can, fund our travels to do that.
Yeah, quit our jobs.
And just go around touring with the podcast.
And doing this at other places.
All right, let's dig in to the end of the world that's coming up. The end is near.
Well, I mean, we can work remote. We can do our remote IT work while we're on tour.
Sure. For the next
we're
3
IT
days.
people. We can work from anywhere.
For the next 3 days before the world ends, yes.
And we can podcast from anywhere.
Hey, why don't we do a podcast
from the moon?
They're shooting missiles. That's part of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
They're shooting.
So yeah, let's talk about the missiles.
Yeah, what's going on? I didn't hear this. I know we have shot missiles at the moon before.
Yeah.
So why are we doing it now?
Two or three of them. They're supposed to be firing up during the eclipse.
Why?
It's some kind of weird limp dick explanation. Like, oh, just to see like something with the eclipse, but it sounds sketchy.
Part of this makes me wonder if the world is going to end and they're shooting down whatever death ray is going to hit us, and they're preemptively shooting it. That's what they're doing.
Okay, so I know they started shooting this project, APEP it's called.
APEP.
Which is short, supposedly, for atmospheric perturbations around the eclipse path. Perturbations.
From Wallet's flight facility.
But APEP is also a pseudonym for an Egyptian serpent deity who is the nemesis of the sun god Ra.
This is weird. What is happening here?
So either they thought they were smarter than they are, because it's NASA, and their shit's always blown up in the sky. Either they thought they were smarter than they were, and they're like, we're going to create this really fantastic acronym around an Egyptian deity that covers the sun up, because that's what a total solar eclipse is, right?
Yeah.
Or this is something more sinister.
Yeah, the reason for it is...
I say sinister.
So they're going to launch 3 rockets at 45-minute intervals, and they're supposed to collect data on how the sun's sudden disappearance affects the ionosphere.
And why are they hitting the moon?
Well, they're like actually going to hit the moon.
Oh, they're not going to hit the moon.
Like
okay.
add it and get like in the path of totality, like up in the atmosphere.
Okay, so I know we have actually hit the moon with...
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
But we aren't doing that
slingshots.
now. This is not what's happening, you're saying. This is just us...
That's what they say.
Shooting them into the sky for some reason.
To see what's going on in the ionosphere, apparently.
Okay, it'll eject 4 secondary instruments the size of a 2-liter soda bottle that will allow researchers to gather similar data as if they had launched 15 rockets. So 3 rockets will act like 15. All right.
Now,
barely because of this opportunity.
But they're not just shooting these rockets up on the solar eclipse. They did a round of them in October last year. They might have done another round of them since then. So it's been several intervals of what are they shooting at? What are they going to inject soda bottles into?
I'm telling you, they are going to shoot at the dark side of the moon where the alien bases are, because then they're going to be under direct sunlight, no hiding, and they're going to blast those bases in the parking lots.
They want to study how Earth's upper atmosphere is affected when sunlight momentarily dims over a portion of the planet. Probably because they want to
do it at night.
They want to start doing solar dimming. They probably want to start doing solar dimming with the big...
Oh, like Highlander, where they're going to put the shield in the sky and everything goes dark?
Highlander 2.
Well, they've done other weird stuff, like
Yeah,
put like a bunch of like gold needles in the ionosphere one time, just like see what that would do.
Why do we just keep dumping shit into the things?
And what's the thing with the ionosphere? Like, what's the...
It doesn't sound very scientific.
What's the allure of that?
Well,
HARP.
yeah, it's HARP. I mean,
Dun, dun,
well,
dun.
we already know, and we should do an episode on this too. You writing all this shit down?
Yeah.
Interscalar interferometry and interscalar longitudinal waves, okay? This is something that came out in the quote-unquote Star Wars program in the 80s, but it has its origins in the 40s and 50s.
Tesla.
The Russians were developing this at the same time, so there was an arms race. I mean, it wasn't just during the Cold War, following World War II, it wasn't just about who had the most nuclear arms. It was also these like next generation weapons. And they're all based on, yes, Nikola Tesla, but also the findings of James Clerk Maxwell. Now, some people speculate that the Russians are more advanced in these technologies because a guy named Oliver Heaviside came around in the early 19th, because James Clerk Maxwell's studies were, I think, turn of the century. And then Heaviside came along, and he tried to simplify Clerk's equations into these things called quaternions. But some people speculate that we lost some of it because he simplified the math and he cut a bunch of shit out where the Russians didn't. Mm-hmm. So if you remember Katrina, there were people talking about how the hurricane was steered into the port of New Orleans. And they were able to pick up on radar these strange types of geometric things showing up on radar that were almost influencing the path of the hurricane.
Was it the clouds that looked like Wi-Fi waves? Like
Yeah, they do that now.
Yeah, but they were picking up these other signals, and they were geometric in shape. But they also found it was interesting because they said at the time it looked like there were two sides trying to, one was trying to direct the hurricane, and another one was trying to prevent it or deter it or move it away from what the first party was trying to push it into.
So it's like Pong with like major weather patterns.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like
Awesome.
one side was trying to attack, one side was trying to defend, but the types of technologies, just based on the geometric patterns and the signals they were picking up on radar, looked different. So that kind of reinforces very weakly the hypothesis that we were both working maybe as Russia and the U.S., but then maybe Russia had more advanced interscalar weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know people have talked about this back in the day with Art Bell, and I know Hoagland used to talk about it, but I haven't heard much about what he's been up to. So
I think they silenced him. I think he was on to too much, or he just got old and he started going crazy. I don't know.
well, now, okay, so that's the whole, weather and missile weirdness that's going on, which is very bizarre. But what about the historical items that you found in ancient peoples? Solar eclipses were sometimes harbingers of bad news. Sometimes they maybe were less threatening. I don't know. Depends on the culture.
Yeah, it's interesting to track how solar eclipses were viewed throughout the ages, in the course of human history. And, when we talk about this, we got to look at this through like all the major cultures, right? So let's just start with the ancient Chinese. One of the most technically advanced civilizations for their time in relation to, a lot of cool shit came out of ancient China, right?
Right.
Gunpowder,
all that.
And they had the Silk Road, not the one that we talk about nowadays with all the bad stuff, but the ancient Chinese believed that solar eclipses occurred when a celestial dragon devoured the sun. They thought that the dragon's actions disrupted the natural order of the universe. So whenever a solar eclipse occurred, the Chinese, they would gather collectively to scare the dragon away by creating loud noises, like beating drums, gongs, and everybody making as much noise as they can to scare the dragon away.
So we should get air horns.
Yeah, and during this time, it was all part of a bigger ritual, so they would pray. Obviously, a lot of people, ancient people would pray because this was something celestial, something powerful, something from the gods probably. But they believed that the sun was a symbol of the emperor. So an eclipse represented a challenge to imperial authority. So they also said prayers and performed rituals to help restore the natural order of the cosmos and reinforce the power of the emperor.
All right. And then
Similarly, okay, so this is interesting. So that's a segue. The Chinese were getting together. They're banging a bunch of shit. They're making lots of noise. In Norse mythology, the Vikings believed that eclipses were a sign of doom. The Vikings, to me, seem like a very paranoid people because if you ever, I didn't read the classical literature about Beowulf, right? But if you've ever seen the movie The 13th Warrior or read the book,
Did you say Teen Wolf?
it's not based on Teen Wolf, but Beowulf is part of the the classical literature that inspired the narrative of that book that became a film. But it's about an Arab scholar, and of course that was during the Arabic golden age, right? So a lot of in the 14th century, 15th century maybe, or was it before then? But a lot of the technology, that was the most technologically advanced part of the world, was Arabia. And so this guy, I think the scholar guy played by, who's the actor I'm trying to think?
Carrot Top.
No, you've seen the movie. Come on, you've seen the 13 Warrior. One away, he's banging. He was banging somebody, some nobles, So they banished him to be an emissary toward the Vikings, and he was forced to go, or else he would have been murdered in his family. So he goes there, and he ends up. They kind of treat him like a dog because he doesn't speak their language, but he sits around the campfire. He learns their language just by listening to them. And once he learns their language, he's able to befriend them. And he's like the extra 13th warrior that symbolically is able to go and kill these savages. But my point is in this
Antonio
movie,
Banderas.
yeah, Antonio Banderas. in this movie, when there was a mist, and this is true in their culture, like they thought the mist was like a breakdown between the real world and the netherworld, and so that kind of freaked them out. Well, this is the same thing, right? This is a lot of paranoia, and they believed that eclipses were a sign of doom. They believed that, according to Norse mythology, that the sun was personified as a goddess named Sol, or Sunna, who traveled through the sky in a chariot. An eclipse meant that a giant wolf named Skoll had caught up with Sol and swallowed her, plunging the world into darkness.
People get pretty creative back then.
So they feared ultimately that Skoll would eventually devour Sol completely, which would end the world. So during an eclipse, just like the Chinese, they'd gather, they'd make loud noises. They would shoot arrows into the sky, kind of like missiles. They'd bang pots and pans, and they'd try to frighten the wolf away so Sol could escape.
Interesting.
They also saw the eclipse as an ominous portent of Ragnarok, which was the Norse version of the apocalypse. The myth of Ragnarok foretold that Skoll would eventually catch and consume the sun, making the start of a great battle that would destroy the gods and end the world. So to the Vikings, a solar eclipse was a sign that the end times were drawing near.
Interesting. Seems like today.
So we need to be loud and obnoxious during the eclipse.
Yeah, so this is what I was saying before. If you're going down into the path of totality, you need to bring lots of cookware.
Air horns,
Wooden spoons, hammers,
loud Bluetooth speakers,
bass guitars with powerful amplifiers.
kazoos.
Well, you know what? I was watching the Navajo channel on YouTube, and he said that they would be quiet and remain indoors. And it was not the time for joking around or tomfoolery. So they're the opposite of what these other cultures were doing.
Yeah, that's still a very modern superstition that some people believe that during an eclipse it's best to stay indoors to avoid exposure to harmful spirits. Where some people even think that the rays emanated by the eclipse, of course you're not supposed
Damaging.
to look. Yeah, but those rays could be damaging. In some cultures, people still fast, bathe, and chant during an eclipse.
Fast bathe.
Yeah, fast bathe. They fast and they bathe. They fast and they fast bathe. Some people still believe that all doors and windows should be shut and covered during an eclipse, which is what I'm going to be doing because I'm going to be working at my shitty job while you're in the path of
Are
totality.
you going to be in a pit 60 feet underground?
No.
Oh, well, that's what you should be doing.
I was looking in the other day about fallout, doomsday bunkers.
A deeper bunker than you're
There's
already
a company that will build you a serviceable small doomsday bunker for like $10,000.
$10,000.
Yeah,
I
it's
wanna know
extremely small.
How does it work? Buries your backyard, and that's about it.
I think they dig in your backyard. Yeah.
I don't know if you put those in around here.
You're gonna have to you're gonna have to go talk to the city.
I don't know if they permit those. Of course, nobody knows.
By the way, speaking of Edgar Casey, I looked at the Doomsday map. He didn't refer to it in his readings as the Doomsday map, but it's referred to as, and that's the map that he gave during his readings that said that, and I think it's coming up either between 2027 or 2038, where the world would start changing and a lot of like the global map would change. Like half the United States goes underwater.
And that's what he predicted too?
He believed that actually we would reclaim some land off the east coast of the United States, but a good portion of the continental United States would go underwater.
Oh, no.
And we're not in a horrible spot.
I think I've seen that map, but we're kind of like on the cusp of.
We're going to be on the coastline. That's what I'm thinking.
It's going to be riverfront property, dude. It's going to be fucking
All right,
great.
here it is. Oh, this is the same map that the Angels gave that one person. Yeah, we're really close. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out if we're safe or not. But
Well, in the meantime,
yeah, we're gonna shrink. Oh, look at that. How does the Western United States get that much water?
well, California is going to drop off into the ocean. We've been
Well,
saying
that's
that for years.
California. But how does all this mountain area get covered with water?
By the way, we didn't mention this in the news headlines. I'd be remiss if I didn't say it, but New Jersey had a 4.8 Richter scale earthquake. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, I think it was New York,
Jersey
New
did
Jersey.
it? I heard someone else
felt
did.
in Virginia.
Well, A lot of people don't realize this, but globally, there's earthquakes happening multiple times a day.
Oh, yeah.
And there's an international research page you can find on X, formerly Twitter. I forget the name of the account, but it's like automated, and it posts the coordinates and like the magnitude of earthquakes and the location across the globe. Interesting, I didn't see the New Jersey one, so there must be a delay when they post those, but yeah.
Really?
Of course, everybody's going to tie that to some of the eclipse stuff.
I mean, let's be real, though. We don't have earthquakes very much up here, but 4.8 is not strong.
Sure.
I've never been in an earthquake. I don't know what that would be like. I mean, it would be pretty scary if you're like in a building, but what if you're like standing out in like a parking lot, like, or a field?
It would suck if you're in a high rise.
Yeah, that would not be cool.
Because like those things, you can feel them shake. Like if you go to like the high rises in Chicago, the one I'm thinking of, I was in the Hancock building once, and I don't know if it's still called the John Hancock building, but it's the second tallest building in Chicago, aside from the Willis Tower or the Sears Tower, whatever they call it. But that's 98 stories tall, at least when I was there, and when you're on the top floor, you can feel the whole building sway.
Yeah, they're built to take a little bit of a hit, but yeah, it doesn't feel cool when you're in it. That's going on.
You heard about the Taiwan earthquake. That's what I thought you were talking about.
No, Jersey.
But
Jersey.
Look up the Taiwan. It's what was the 7 point?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So like, did the tsunami hit yet? Because people noticed that the tide immediately started going out, which is a sign of a tsunami to come. They were giving tsunami warnings.
What day was that?
That was like 3 days ago.
So the tsunami would have hit by now. So that,
Yeah.
Depending where the epicenter of the earthquake was.
I mean, obviously Aquaman stopped it. So, but anyway, back to the original discussion. So, the Chinese, the Norse, make a lot of noise. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more celebratory type of thing to do during the solar eclipse, be like the Aztecs. Of course, the Aztec civilization, full swing between the 14th and 16th centuries. That was South America, for anybody who's geographically challenged. Deeply religious people who worship the sun god Huitzilopochtli. When the sun, that's his name, Huitzilopochtli. Yeah. So to appease Huitzilopochtli and bring back the sun. Just because you can't figure out an Aztec dialect, don't at me.
this isn't Quetzalcoatl. We're not talking about him.
You know, we're talking about Okay, anyway. The Aztecs, they would light fires and play loud music. Okay, so they did that too. All right. But the Aztecs, well, where the hell is it? Oh, yeah, they would perform human sacrifices and rituals.
So are you?
I thought I was going crazy.
Are you saying that we should do that for this eclipse?
That's an option.
That's an option. Human sacrifices. All right.
I mean, if you're into capital punishment, no comment, but I mean, perfect opportunity to thin out the prisons.
I'm having a problem finding the official Edgar Cayce map because I'm finding a bunch of things that may or may not be his.
You have to go straight to the Edgar Cayce Institute of Research and Enlightenment.
Isn't there's like a military version of like that map too?
Yeah, I've seen it.
The Edgar Cayce, it's like ARE, so I forget what the A stands for, but the Institute for Research and Enlightenment that was developed from all of Edgar Cayce's readings and things is the second largest metaphysical library in the world, second only to the Vatican.
Oh, suspicious.
Which makes sense. That wouldn't be awesome to go into the depths
They
of the
claim there's
Vatican.
nothing there. It's all hype they set.
Well,
It's probably all the coolest shit you could possibly think of.
Just to find all those old grimoires and like mystical things. I mean,
Ark of the Covenant.
Malachi
Holy
Martin
Grail.
used to say that they used to do satanic rituals in the deepest depths of the Vatican. And if you have all those fucking books and you get bored, because let's face it, like when you're part of the clergy, it gets pretty fucking boring.
Yeah, what if you're like
You're gonna start playing with some black magic, man.
Yeah, what if you're like the curator of like all that crap down there and just sitting there by yourself all day and night? Like, let's play around with some of this cool stuff.
So, and then there's the Hindu mythology. In the Hindu mythology, solar eclipses were believed to be caused by Rahu, a demonic serpent.
Oh, geez.
I work with a guy named Raju,
Is he a
Not-
demonic serpent?
No relation, right?
He pisses me off sometimes. He could be a demonic serpent. Maybe I'm. No,
Or
I'm kidding.
demonic
No,
squirrel?
he's cool. The legend goes that Rahu's head was cut off by the god Vishnu for drinking the nectar of immortality.
Huh.
Whoops.
So it's almost like Adam and Eve, eating from the forbidden apple, right? But because Rahu had tasted the nectar, his head remained alive and immortal. So during an eclipse, Rahu's head would swallow the sun, causing the light to disappear.
Where can I get some of this nectar of...
I don't know, but Vishnu would cut your head off. That's no good.
Yeah, but my head's going to live forever and float around. That's flipping awesome.
Now, okay, so Rahu, his head, his floating head would swallow the sun. The light would disappear. So this is what happens when the sun's covered up. But his appetite for the sun only lasts a short time. So the sun and moon were thought to be released from Rahu's mouth once he had swallowed them, ending the eclipse.
And then he would order some toppers.
Right, so he swallows them, and then all of a sudden it gets light again because he's spitting them out, or it's I don't know. But people again would make loud noises, clank pots and pans. You see the theme?
Yeah, like pots and pans.
So I'm thinking,
Key.
yeah, air horns, bottle rockets with report. That's the message I'm hearing here right now.
Now, some Hindus believe that the eclipses were inauspicious, linked to negative energy. Pregnant women were advised to stay indoors and avoid the sight of an eclipsed sun, or birth defects would occur. Food and water were also covered to avoid contamination during an eclipse. So they believe that somehow the energy from the eclipse could taint food.
Really?
But then
That's
there were
weird.
people that also saw eclipses as opportunities to attain moksha, or salvation. So they would also bathe in sacred rivers, chanting mantras. So when you go to the path of totality, take your pots and pans into the river.
Okay. I will.
And just hope there's no earthquake. 'Cause
Actually, we got a lot of notifications that there's floods around the area, so traveling there might be hard to do.
if you have a cyber truck, you can
Oh,
easily...
yeah.
Or it makes more river real estate for you to sit there and fire bottle rockets off. So it'll make the river less crowded because it's bigger.
So just a disclaimer, if you're going, take some awesome eclipse glasses.
I didn't get any, and I don't know if I'll do it. I'm not
Or
sure.
there's certain welding masks.
Yeah, you
that
can use a
could
welding mask.
have a certain grade that will be okay.
Or when we were kids, because I remember there was one when we were kids, and I think you can't you poke a hole in a piece of paper and look through
That's
that?
not.
No,
safe.
it's like a
But-
shoebox or something.
But I will say this: if you're in the path of totality, and if it's actually at maximum coverage, you can look at it. But you have to make sure it's actually covering the whole thing.
Once it gets to that, what they call it, the diamond on the ring portion, that's when you need to not look at it and use your shoebox with a hole in it or whatever that is.
So Muskrat, you're talking about heading down there, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to take your telescope?
No. Because I don't have a filter for it, so there'd be no point.
Well, you got 3 days to get one. But you're going down there just to dance and bathe in the
Basically,
the
goat's
shining
blood.
rays of the
And goat's blood.
So you're not actually going to look at it.
Well, if you need a goat's blood, I know where some goats are to. I don't know if you get them over here fast enough. But
Island, yes, I have to get there first.
You can get 50. Do you have enough time to process that request for 50 goats before that?
The
Expedite
last
it.
I went to the last one, 2017, and Illinois, Waterloo.
Was that a solar eclipse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I looked at it. I saw it. It was very weird, and then the whole area gets really weird when it turns dark. It's really
that is
strange.
kind of, yeah.
That is really strange.
I don't know if you're still working where we worked before, yeah, and that was really weird.
I was.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
I was probably working while everybody else was fucking around because that's all I work hard.
Yeah, we're fucking around, we're looking at solar eclipse. It took 5 minutes to look at a celestial event.
So when you were down in 2017, did you see Rahu's severed head?
There was some weird stuff because it's so weird looking as it gets closer, and then it covers, and the moon looks it's so strange. I don't know if I saw a severed head. I'm not sure about that.
So let's talk a little bit about some crazy shit that happened during solar eclipses. And I don't have a ton of examples, but just talking about American history, right? And our history in America is pretty short in the scheme of things. But Lewis and Clark, on their expedition in 1806, they ran into a solar eclipse.
Lewis and Clark?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. So they were in the western United States, of course, because Jefferson was like, go explore. And, so June 26, 1806 was that solar eclipse. And they were traveling along the Clearwater River in present-day Idaho, and the day turned to night for a few minutes, of course, solar eclipse. They didn't know an eclipse was coming because, Europeans.
Idiots.
So obviously they were like fucked up. And in Lewis's journal, he described the landscape as being covered by a gloom more lonesome and desolate than the shades of night.
Wow.
It is kind of eerie, like how dark it gets
That's weird.
during that time, just for a few minutes. Like
That's very bizarre.
So this is what's interesting, though, is what they did then is they sent their interpreters ahead to find the nearest Indian village and learn what the natives thought was happening, because they were like spooked. They're like, what the fuck is this? And they found the Nez Perce, and the Nez Perce told the interpreters that it was the great beast that was devouring the sun and would soon swallow the earth.
Really?
Yep. So panic erupted in their village. So the interpreters like show up and everybody's like freaking out. The Nez Perce already had some guns.
they
So
try
I
to
guess
shoot at the sun.
so. Yeah, they were shooting guns and arrows at the beast to drive it away, but it didn't have the intended effect. And the eclipse just ended on schedule anyway. But they were like, why isn't this working? And then it just went away. So maybe they thought it did work. So yeah, great story.
Lewis and Clark didn't know about solar eclipses.
No, so 1806.
Well, that does kind of make sense because it depends on where you lived and when, because of where
I
eclipses
suppose, but-
happen. Like they don't happen like
They would know about the phenomenon.
like in any given lifetime. You're not going to see an eclipse in every part of the world. Like it's
Well,
so
right.
some people wouldn't, without the advent
It's only a partial eclipse, or
or it happened on the other side of the planet.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
your country hadn't seen it, decades or 100 years. Nobody knows about it. So yeah, I could see people not knowing about it or what the hell that is.
Yeah, so meanwhile, 1806, this same eclipse, while Lewis and Clark are like, what the fuck is going on? In New England, there was a great battle happening that was documented. There were two warring tribes in New England, the Penobscot and the Passamaquoddy.
Isn't that the name of the beer you're drinking?
punch.
Yeah, Musgrave, isn't that your beer? But the eclipse got them all to stop fighting. They were clashing in what is now Maine.
Are you talking about? Isn't it? This sounds like another story about like where there's a comet and the same thing happened. The comet was hanging out in the sky for like a month, and nobody battled, thinking that was an omen not to continue the battle. That one of the sides was like, "This doesn't mean anything. Let's take over," and they won.
Well, that didn't exactly happen this way here because
Okay.
everybody that was like killing each other, they're all like, holy shit. They immediately stopped fighting, and none of them had ever witnessed a total solar eclipse before, so they thought it was a sign from angry gods or evil spirits. So the leaders on both sides, they met. They agreed to establish a temporary truce until the skies brightened again. They were convinced that continuing to fight would bring dangerous consequences from above. So for nearly 5 minutes, as the moon blocked the sun, the warring tribes stood in silence. The weapons were lowered, the heads were bowed, and when the sun peeked through again, everybody cheered, and actually they didn't resume the fighting. So
brought
the
peace.
truce held even after the eclipse, and then they began more formal negotiations, and a more permanent peace was reached, all thanks to a few minutes.
And where was this?
This was Maine in 1806. So the Penobscot and the Passamaquoddy Indians.
Interesting.
So, I mean, over 2 centuries later, still serves as a reminder of how a single unifying experience can transcend boundaries and bring bitter enemies together, if only for a fleeting moment.
Weird. Maybe that's what this eclipse will do. It will. No, it won't. Everybody's gonna freak out. It's gonna turn to crazy. It's gonna turn into a shit show.
But what about the presidents? We had a few presidents that did some, had some stories from eclipses. So, Rutherford B. Hayes.
Haze.
Yeah, during this total solar eclipse of July 29th, 1878, Hayes was in Denver, Colorado. the celestial event captivated the nation. It was the first solar eclipse visible from the continental U.S. in over 40 years. So, despite the excitement, Hayes remained in his hotel suite during the eclipse, choosing to avoid
Smart
the
man.
crowds. But Lucy, his
Wise.
wife, joined the throngs outside and was awed by dramatic midday darkness and the sun's glowing corona.
And was later killed by the floating head thing flying around.
So Hayes,
Never mind. I was thinking of something else.
Hayes was a subscriber to the shut your doors and windows
Type of people.
type people. Yeah.
Don't let the evil
It's
in.
America. You have the choice.
Herbert Hoover, on January 24th, 1925, he witnessed a total solar eclipse while on a goodwill tour of South America as the U.S. Secretary of Commerce. So this was before he was president. Hoover and his wife, Lou, were in the Andes Mountains of Chile when the moon's shadow raced across the landscape. Path of totality passed directly over their location. They experienced the eerie darkness, saw stars. Hoover later described it as the most spectacular natural phenomenon he had ever seen.
So, do you think when like people from our country or leaders they were abroad and they witnessed this, but then they come back to our country where it didn't happen, nobody saw it, they talk about it, everybody's like, "What the hell are you talking about? Like, we didn't see that. Are you nuts? Like, when the
And then
sun
they-
went away, like idiot."
And then they have him committed to a mental institution.
Something like
In
that.
an alternate timeline, that might have happened.
Yes, the multiverse.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter had a close encounter with a solar eclipse on February 26, 1979.
How do you have a close encounter with the sun?
Came a little too close.
Well, I mean, the path of totality of that one didn't cross Washington, D.C., but the nation's capital still saw a partial total solar eclipse with 90% of the sun obscured. So Carter watched in awe from the White House lawn, gazing through protective lenses for a first-hand view. So even Jimmy Carter had a filter for his, and you're not going to take one.
I have sunglasses.
So, I mean, those were just incidences of former presidents that wrote about it in their memoirs. But what about when eclipses brought end times hysteria?
Yeah,
now.
I think that's what's happening now. Is people are
Yeah, so here we are again. So maybe the world won't end. Maybe we're just all like to go crazy. The dark day of 1780, May 19, 1780, path of totality passed over, guess where? New England, where people like to burn witches.
During the
Now, not in
that wasn't-
1780, but
that wasn't the time of the.
but they like to burn witches up there. The Connecticut legislature was in session. They adjourned in panic.
Really?
They convened special church services.
Interesting.
And then after the eclipse cleared, American soldier turned scientist Samuel Williams reassured locals it was a natural celestial event.
That's interesting.
But yeah, ad hoc church services, clear the legislature, everybody's going to die.
Huh. Wow. All right.
And then the 1806 eclipse again, invoking that one again.
1806.
Yeah, so we talked about New England and the warring tribes. Well, meanwhile, in part of New England, religious leaders prophesied the eclipse heralded the second coming of Christ
Oh, there. Just
and
like
an
now.
end of the world. When Christ didn't come and the world didn't end, a lot of people had a real problem with that.
People had a real problem with that. Who'd they take it up with?
It doesn't say what they did, but apparently there were a lot of pissed off people.
It's like that one guy that he got everyone to sell all their stuff and wait on the hill, and then it didn't come, and then he said, "Oh, we miscalculated. And it was going to be a little bit longer." He did that a couple times. I feel that's a reoccurring theme in America. Well, it's gonna. If Jesus comes down on a cloud, is he supposed to be firing swords? I can't remember.
Well, that would be in Revelation, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, if this is the end times, that's Revelations, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
well in Revelations it says that the date and time of the end is not going to be revealed, and
Right.
no hints, no clues. Nobody's going to be able to figure it out. It's just going to happen.
Well,
it also says that true Christians won't look backward; they'll look forward, kind of like in the Sodom and Gomorrah and
Pillar of salt thing.
Pillar of salt, yeah. That the way I take that is like the people who keep freaking out about it, like are like not seeing the forest through the trees. It's like just keep going because it's probably not going to happen.
And if it does, there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly.
So who cares?
That was the most meaningful thing my dad ever said to me, because around the turn of the millennium, right, 2000, Y2K,
Dun dun dun.
you know, and I bought into all the holy shit, the world's ending. So I was buying like survival supplies,
Like
and
Y2K compatible cigarettes and
I didn't
light
care about
bulbs.
that so much, but I was like, you know, shit hits the fan. I'm going out of the forest. I'm going to try and live off the land, like stupid shit. But like
that's a good
I
idea.
started like just like telling everybody. You probably remember that, Muskrat. I was probably like, oh man, like guess what's going to happen? Well, I started going off my dad one night, and he was just like, what are you going to do about it? And then he yelled at me. He's like, "You're fucking stupid."
No, we're all in the same boat. Yeah, nothing you can do about it.
And so like that. I mean, that was an eye opener.
But maybe there is something you can do about it.
Maybe.
Well, the pots and pans, air horns, shooting rockets, firing up CERN.
I have a lot of firing. No, turn CERN off.
They're firing it up that day.
No way.
Yeah, they're fired
You gotta
up.
look that up. This is something going on here.
Yeah, April 8th, they're firing that thing up, and
That's not.
they're trying to what they're trying to replicate is pretty much dark matter.
Why would they do that on the solar eclipse day? Why are they?
That's what everybody's like, what the hell are you doing that for? Like, put that off. Like, if you, like too much.
What
in
is
one-
going on? There's something weird going on here, man. They're trying to prevent the end of the world. They think they can stop it.
I don't know. As though they're tying it to the end of the world or anything. I think
I
they're
don't
just
know, man.
they're just messing around, slamming particles into each other, trying
But
to.
on the eclipse,
Yeah,
this is suspicious. I don't know. The rockets firing, CERN doing their thing.
cicadas.
And then be on the lookout
I
too
don't know.
for
Cicadas. The conjunction of planets too.
be on the lookout for the black sun symbol. Have you seen that? It's a circle with a dot in the center. Represents the black sun.
Do you think
of a
people are
solar
going to spray
eclipse.
paint it?
Maybe, but it's an occult symbol. It's a symbol of mysterious source of energy and power that happens during a solar eclipse. There's a group called the Ancient Mystical Order of Rosicrucis, for example, an occult organization.
Rosicrucians?
No,
Rosicrucians?
it says Rosicrucius.
Yeah, those are the Rosicrucians.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
I
it's
heard
just
someone
spelled
tell me a conspiracy theory that they're behind the funding of the highways or something, and that means something. I'm like, wait a minute. You think a secret organization is funding the highway and all the tolls, the toll roads for what reason?
Well,
I thought that was one of the more interesting conspiracy
potentially
theories.
manipulating infrastructure.
Toll paths.
Well, supposedly the Rosicrucians believe that the usual order of the cosmos is overturned when there's a solar eclipse,
then what
and that otherworldly knowledge and power can be accessed.
Oh,
That an eclipse represents a descent of the divine light through the spheres into the human. So they regularly they hold special rituals to try and channel that energy during an eclipse. So you could get together with the Rosicrucians.
But NASA's going to shoot this at this divine light, or CERN is going to create like a black hole that's going to suck it in. So many things going on. How exciting.
The Theosophical Society, another occult organization, they believe that the hidden sun is what they call it, but that's has spiritual meaning. And, they'll meditate, so you could get together with them and meditate with them.
so
The hidden sun. Are you talking about like the bureau or whatever? Like we have to throw that in this mix too, because why not?
No, I'm talking about black hole sun.
Oh,
from
by Soundgarden.
Yeah,
so if we see that, we'll know.
you should be blasting that while you watch it.
We'll wash away
So-
the rain.
Watch that video. It's a fantastic video.
It is. So this site is saying that the claim of the timing is also wrong. Each year, after a brief winter technical stop, CERN restarts its accelerator complex and the collider. This year, it was restarted on March 8th, a full month before the eclipse. So I don't know.
Well, I thought they did that, but then they're supposed to do it again, or they're
I don't know.
they have something to do with like dark matter. They're
We have
trying
to
to
look.
recreate.
We have to look into this. But here's another thing: USA Today has debunked other false eclipse claims, including assertions that the rockets NASA will launch during the event are part of a sex magic ritual, and
Yes.
that the eclipse is manufactured and that will cause days of darkness. These are some of the things they've supposedly debunked. How do you debunk a sex magic ritual? Like,
Well, how do you
how do you
prove it?
say Well, right, but how do you debunk it? There's no way you could say that it's not being done for the. Do they know that someone's not doing some weird sex magic ritual when they shoot the rockets?
That's
off?
a lot of effort and money and manpower thrown into it. And I don't know how a rocket.
You can't prove a negative, so they did not debunk the sex magic ritual.
Yeah, they just don't believe in sex magic.
Right.
This is just it's a free for all. Anything goes.
So
Whatever kind of idea you got, throw it on a table.
The
It's
rocket
fine.
scientist is going to watch the rocket launch while some chick is doing reverse cowgirl on him. Or maybe she's the rocket scientist. Who knows? Or maybe they're both rocket scientists. We don't know.
Well, afterwards, do a little search on OnlyFans, and maybe you'll finally figure out what the hell they were doing. And for a few bucks, you could get in on it. I don't know.
Let's go ask someone's OnlyFans to do Eclipse sex magic with rockets and see what they say.
You know what? Maybe that's an untapped category. Can really pioneer
Eclipse sex magic rocket ritual.
Hey, why not? Chicks are selling farts online, and making bank.
Bottling farts. We talked about that in a previous episode.
I think a couple of episodes,
yes, we
actually.
did.
More than one.
Have you bought any yet?
No, don't buy farts. I think she had to stop because she was ruining her insides.
Yeah, she was eating a bunch of crap to generate more
Protein
farts.
powder and
Yeah, she was
it's so gross.
fabricating them.
All right. Well, as we hear the chimes and my beer's almost out here, guys, what are you thinking? Are we going to be back for another episode, or is the world going to be over?
We'll see.
Yeah, well, if it really affects modern technology, maybe we'll have to do it over Morse code.
Yeah.
We'll see you on tour soon.
Or phonograph.
Get your tickets.
All right. This is Friday, April 5th, 2024. Possibly the last show before the end of the world. Email the show, packetsandbolts@gmail.com. Packetsandbolts@gmail.com. Remember to keep packing those bolts. Until next time. If there is a next time.
Till the end.
See ya. Real goat.